Do you want to progress in your professional career? If so, this video is a must watch. Hi guys, it's Joe here from Learn, Earn, Enjoy. If you're new here, we post content on a regular basis to do with those three themes: learn, earn, enjoy. And it's the philosophy that I try to live my life by. In today's video, I'm discussing a model that needs to be considered if you want to progress in your chosen career. As always, sections are time-stamped, so please skip ahead if you want to. However, for this one, I would suggest you watch the whole video. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so the model itself is called the PI model and it's by Coleman. It was first written about by Coleman in 1996 and it's all about the aspects that make up career progression. I first heard of this model at a networking event a few years ago at work. Coleman states that there are three key elements of career progression, each of them weighted differently according to importance. So PI stands for performance, image, exposure. These are the three key elements of career progression defined by Coleman. Ultimately, Coleman postulated that an individual must perform well, have a good image, and have the right exposure to progress well in a career. The most surprising part of this model for me is the weightings attributed by Coleman to each of the three elements. So P, performance, is how you perform in your role and the results that you deliver. This is likely what most people think is the most important thing in regards to career progression. I certainly did when I was younger and before I came across this model. However, according to Coleman, performance is only attributable to 10% of career progression. That's right, only 10%. Coleman states it's simply not good enough to just perform well and expect to progress in your career. For example, imagine if yourself and three others had each interviewed for a promotion and each of you performed equally well in the interview. Your performance is a given by answering the questions well in the interview. The conversation between the decision makers in that hiring process would likely then progress to the other two elements that Coleman mentions: image and exposure. The I in PI is for image. This is your personal brand in the workplace and how others perceive you. For example, do you have a reputation for being a problem solver or someone that only brings problems? Are you considered proactive or lazy? And so on. Coleman states that image is attributable to 30% of career progression, so 3 times more important than performance alone. Circling back to the example given before about the 4 people that have performed equally well at an interview, what do you think would happen if one of them had a poor personal brand and image within the workplace, for being lazy, for example? Chances are they would be discounted from the process pretty quickly, leaving just 3 people left in the running for the promotion. Finally, the E in the PI is exposure, which is who knows both you personally and what you do in the organisation. It's safe to assume in most cases your manager will both know you personally and what you do, but does their boss and their boss's boss? And what about the leaders of the other departments in the organisation? And those external to the organisation, do they know you and what you do? Coleman attributes a massive 60% of career progression down to exposure. Whilst potentially shocking at first, it becomes a little bit more understandable if you think it through. For instance, take the 3 people in the running for the promotion mentioned in the last example. They've performed equally well in their roles and their interviews, they've had a positive image or at least the lack of a bad image, and they're now equally in the running for the role. Imagine if the hiring managers involved the SLT, the senior leadership team of the organisation, in a decision-making process. They stated the 3 people, and of the 3 people, only one of them had previously had exposure to the SLT. The SLT would likely see that person as a safe bet because they've had that exposure and a better option than the other 2 that had not had the exposure. It's not inconceivable to think that the person that has had the exposure to the SLT is therefore in a better place in the running for the role. Viewed in this light, the 60% that Coleman attributes to exposure can be more easily understood and doesn't seem so outlandish. At the event where I first came across this model, I, along with my peers, were asked to predict the weightings of each of the 3 elements that Coleman states. Although I was closer than most others and I expected a shocking result, I still predicted performance would make up 20% of career progression. However, as you now know, I was 100% out with that estimate. My view of Coleman's model is that although you could argue a few percent here and there, who's to say it's not 15 instead of 10% for performance, for example, it still does not change the overall message that performance makes up a small part and image and exposure are so important to career progression. Personally, I treat performance as a hygiene factor, a necessity. Image and exposure are then things to think about and try and benefit from when you can. This is certainly something I've tried to do in my career and would advise any aspiring other professional to do the same. Thanks for staying with me to the end of the video. If you've enjoyed this video and got value from it, please do consider liking and subscribing. We post content on a regular basis, and if you like this one, I'm sure you'll like the others as well. Had you heard of this model before? If not, were you aware of the importance of image and exposure in your career? Is there anything you do differently going forward? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.